as a business owner who leverages social media and content creation to grow my business, this weekend, the little TikTok blip that happened probably opened the eyes of a ton of small businesses out there just like mine. And that's why I think today's video is so very important. If you're new here, hi, my name is Jamie Wolfer. I'm your online wedding planner. And one of my huge passions in life is teaching other wedding planners how to run successful businesses. In fact, I have a whole course dedicated to it. I've gone on speaking engagements for this. This is literally like what I love this. There is so much more to my career and what I do than just these videos, even though they're awesome. And one of the things I'm really passionate about is making smart business moves that will last beyond socials. Don't get me wrong, leveraging social media is an excellent business plan, but it can't be your only one. Well, what gives me the right to talk about this? Well, after almost 10 years in the wedding industry and 7 years online doing social media content, trust me when I say I know what I'm talking about. So without further ado, let's just jump right on into it. First and foremost, big shout out to Honeybook for sponsoring this week's video. If you guys have been around for a minute, then you know every time I talk about Honeybook, I let you know that within this first 6 months of my business, I realized that I could not do this on my own. Because rule number one to having a smart business that lasts outside of social media is to have a solid customer relationship management software. That's a lot of words. We shorten it to CRM. Speaking of which, Honeybook is the leading client-centered CRM platform for independent businesses, from where you can handle just about all of your business and where I've been handling my business for the better part of a decade. So when they reached out for a sponsorship, it was a no-brainer. I was like, yeah, I'd love to talk about you. I've loved you longer than my son's been alive. Because one of my huge goals is to make sure my clients are supported with personalization and intention, which usually correlates with really rapid responses. I'll be the first one to tell you that emails are not my strong suit. They're just not. Following up with a quick response as a business owner, a stay-at-home mom, a content creator, and a hobby farmer isn't always feasible. And honestly, running a business takes so much time. With Honeybook, all of those manual administrative tasks are automated, from thank you emails to meeting scheduling, which means I can focus on what I actually want to do, working with my clients and doing the work that I love. Especially because sometimes there can be a whole rush of new leads at once. I'm looking at you, engagement season. From Thanksgiving to Valentine's Day is our go time. So to be able to maintain retainer clients as well as welcome new leads is absolutely imperative. With Honeybook's automation features, it handles all the recurring invoices, sends follow-up emails to leads, and even reminds clients about upcoming strategy sessions. Remember what I said about not being great with emails? Honeybook saves my hiney. Honeybook even helps me manage admin work. The AI meeting assistant will take notes and action items so I can quickly send follow-ups. And let's be real, you can't get much more intentional than that. Listen, you as an independent business owner have really big goals for 2025, and Honeybook really wants to help you get there with its January Jumpstart. Start a free trial for a chance to win a $10,000 prize package of tools, resources, and training that you need to jumpstart your year. So what are you waiting for? Jump on down the description box and click on the link to start your free trial to enter to win their January Jumpstart. Again, $10,000 of resources, tools, and training to make sure your business is as successful as possible this year. There's a reason that they've been our only client-centered CRM platform for the last 8 years. Check it out for yourself. And once you have that beautiful client-centered CRM platform, then you can really focus on what your social media strategy should look like to ensure that your business is going to keep going on, no matter what platforms are available. The second business rule that you should follow if you want to make smart business moves to leverage your social media would be to be specific and to be niche. A lot of us run into this issue when we first get started in our business. We're like, we have to do everything for people to want to hire us or to want to work with us. And what that really is indicative of is this little part of us down in here where we don't feel like we are worth what we're charging. So we try to pile on a lot of extra services on top of that to make us more palatable, shall we say, for brand new clients and brand new customers, when really that's just a reflection of our own insecurities. There you go. I said what I said. And don't get me wrong, I too hated this idea when I got started. I tried to offer invitation design and floral design and rentals. I mean, so many brand new business owners, wedding planners, etc., fall into this trap of like, I have to do so many things for people to want to work with me. You got to pick a limited amount of subjects or even one subject and get really, really good at it. If you've been around my channel for long enough, then you know that one thing I always talk about here is budget weddings. I'm really good at budget weddings. Now, I don't work a lot of them myself simply because it wouldn't make a lot of sense for someone with a small budget to hire someone for what I charge. That's why I create these videos in the master plan. But you know that when you come to my channel, you're going to get solid advice to help you really navigate through this whole situation in a way that is as intentional with our finances as we can be, while simultaneously not sacrificing the overall look and experience of the event. That's what you know you're going to get here. Now, for you, this could be elopement locations, engagement photo shoot locations. You could do venue tours. You could be known as the wedding planner that does all the food tastings to let people know what it's like where you're from, which brings me to my next point when we're getting super specific and super niche with this. Make sure that your Instagram profile, your TikTok profile, anywhere that you're working shows your specific location. Even if one day you want to be a destination wedding planner, which all of us want to do in the beginning, and it sounds so dreamy, but if you don't grow where you're currently planted, again, we are going to be stunting your growth. I'll throw a couple of examples up on the screen of what this looks like. It means changing the option where your name goes to something like Houston Wedding Planner or Dallas Wedding Planner to let people know where you're located. And in your bio, you can always say Houston and beyond, but at least we're establishing a home base. And that's where we kind of live with this content, right? That's where we're really leveraging local people around us to make sure we're talking to the clients that will actually hire you. Rule number 3, or whatever we're calling them. Post with purpose. Unless your goal is a high follower count, right? Because social proof is still something. When people come and look at our accounts, they'll see big numbers and go, she must know what she's talking about, right? And maybe I do, but also maybe I don't. Maybe this whole thing is just some giant ploy to make you think that I know what I'm talking about. I do, okay? But a certain number of followers, or having followers in general, establishes something we call social proof. Enough people follow this person to not think that they're crazy or to trust what they're saying when they're talking about stuff in this field. So don't get me wrong, like having a social media presence when you're in the wedding industry, I think is important. I just don't think it's the only thing that you should be focusing on. So we're going to be really specific with that content. We're going to be really localized. We're going to put out the kind of information that will draw in the clients that we want to receive. So if you want high-end weddings, don't be posting content of you touring barns just to have content. You also need to post regularly and relevantly. If you go to my channel, you'll see that I, for the last 7 years, have posted on almost every single Tuesday. I've only missed a handful of them. One of them was when I had jet lag from going to a wedding in England. Another time we got a freak snowstorm here in Texas. And then a little mini break at the end of the year that I always give myself. Other than that, you'll see I post pretty dang regularly. And I don't do this across all platforms. I choose to focus most of my information and most of my work here on YouTube because this is proven to be the best avenue with the long form content to get done what I need to get done. That might be the case for you, or you might choose to focus on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube Shorts, which is another thing that's really taking off. I think that's we're going to see a lot more people switch to that style of content, especially when we have TikTok kind of being questionable. But I would pick one and focus on that. If TikTok is your app of choice, that's great. Obviously, we don't know where that's going to end up. So I do recommend saving your data, saving those videos so you can repurpose those onto another platform should that actually officially close down. But with posting relevant content regularly is we are building trust, and we're establishing you as an authority in the field. If you keep showing up in the same way that I keep showing up in these videos, you now know the sound of my voice. You've now probably seen enough of my content where you go, I believe most of what she's saying. Maybe trust but verify, but I've probably become someone who you consider to be an authority in this field. And I got to tell you, I started my YouTube channel when I was only like 1.5 or 2 years into my journey. You don't necessarily need to be the biggest expert in the room. You just need to be 2 to 5 steps ahead of the person who you're talking to. So leveraging your knowledge, posting regularly with relevant content, and niching down so you can really speak clearly about what you are really, really good at, you'll find yourself beginning to build this beautiful trust with your audience. I'm not saying they're going to go along with absolutely everything you say, but you're probably going to have at least a few really dedicated fans. Now, when I say post with purpose, there is one thing specifically that we need to hone in on. That's going to be rule number 4 for leveraging socials, okay? But it also kind of falls under this, the purpose of why we're posting. We're building that trust, but we're also getting them off the app. This is why the TikTok ban was so eye-opening for so many business owners and content creators over there, because they did not have a backup plan. And jumping immediately onto another app doesn't always ensure that that following is going to grow at the same pace, or they're going to see the same payout as they do from different platforms. It's not a guaranteed thing, and you might be rebuilding from scratch. And that makes it really, really difficult, not to mention extremely exhausting. You need to have some sort of situation off the app. And this goes for independent business owners. This goes for wedding planners as well. If you create and build up all of this social proof, let's say you even have 500, 1,000, 10,000 followers on a platform, and that platform goes dark or it gets hacked, and then you have no way of recovering that audience. That will take a business owner out at the knees. So how do you do that? How do you get them off the app? By giving them something for free. It's called the art of social selling. And no, this is not MLM. It's not anything like that. This is something I've been doing on this channel for years, and I just didn't realize I was doing it. Until hindsight, I started researching business practices, and I was like, oh snap, this is what I've been doing for a long time. I'm going to read the definition so I don't botch it though. Social selling is building relationships with your prospects, with your potential clients. Remember what I said about social media? Learning to trust me because I'm posting regularly and posting relevant content. And after viewing some or all depending on how committed you are, you start to build trust with me. Social selling hinges on how the prospect develops a trust and a bond with the salesperson. If you are a wedding planner, running your own business, or any kind of independent business owner, you are a salesperson. With social selling, salespeople feel less like robots peddling goods to actual human beings looking to help. For me personally, this manifests as social media selling. I'm constantly putting out videos almost every single week to help people plan their weddings and or occasionally help planners build their businesses. Because again, like I said earlier, I am super passionate about this. But you know what I'm going to keep doing? I'm going to keep giving stuff away for free. And Lord willing, I'm going to keep doing these videos and creating this content for a really long time. I also offer a ton of free digital downloads, from the ultimate wedding planning checklist to going online and taking our floral quiz to figure out what the best resource is for our clients or for our online clients. I offer a ton of things where I'm just like, here is a document that will help you plan your wedding more effectively than you would without it. And I don't hold back in these videos. I give you all of my best stuff. I also don't hold back in the lead generator. I want to make sure that all of my online clients, if they plan their wedding on nothing else but my videos and my digital downloads, would do it masterfully. Now, if they join me in the master plan, of course I can help them even further. But what we're doing here by giving away all of my best stuff, I'm not holding back, I'm not reserving things. By giving away all of my best stuff for free, we're creating something called social reciprocity. And again, I didn't realize what this was until I was several years into my business, and I was already doing it. And again, it could be your preferred vendors, it could be an overall planning timeline, it could be a free day of timeline template for them to follow. It could be a checklist, it could be how to budget, it could be a decor guide, it could be providing relevant content like we talked about earlier. It could be a note and a gift card to a coffee shop down the street that says, thank you so much for considering us. We really and truly hope you find the best planner for you. We know wedding planning's a lot, so here's a coffee on us. We hope to hear from you soon. Are you kidding me? But what we're doing here is we're creating like a deeper subconscious experience, and this is not manipulative. That's not what we're gonna do, because a lot of people just do this out of the pureness of their heart, but it is interesting to look into. There's a behavioral economist over at Duke University who talks about it like this. It's called social reciprocity. Social reciprocity is a very, very strong instinct. If somebody does something for you, you really feel a rather surprisingly strong obligation to do something back for them. We've all been there before, but there's a reason that we do this in business. Ariely adds that free samples of what you offer can make forgotten cravings become more salient, which means this whole study was done on like the art of giving like actual food samples out and how people converted afterwards. I get real nerdy about this stuff. I'm not going to go too into the weeds, but that's the language here that we're reading. What samples do is they give you a particular desire for something, he says. If I gave you a tiny bit of chocolate, all of a sudden it would remind you about the exact taste of chocolate and would increase your craving. The law of reciprocity is a principle of returning a favor to someone who has helped you before. The simple law in social psychology is something you can apply during your sales process. Plus, it adds a touch of genuineness in your connections with potential customers. So we're taking a step back. Let's look at the big picture again. We want to make sure that you are handling your relationship with your client well. This is, again, why I highly recommend Honeybook, and I've only worked with them for the better part of a decade. 2, we want to make sure you are niche with the content that you're putting out so you can be specific with the people that you can help and come alongside during this process. 3, you want to post with purpose. We're not just posting just to post. I know you love that trending audio. And yes, there is a need for a certain amount of followers to have social proof. Unless your sole purpose here is to become a wedding content creator, which a bunch of people do. I'm not knocking it, but instead you want to grow your actual business, then posting relevant content regularly is pretty important. And in this content, we're going to be really intentional with what we give them. We're giving away our best stuff for free. We're not holding back. And that's when you go, Jamie, but how does that get them off the app? Digital downloads. And that's the real reason why you see so many people saying like, comment fire and I'll send you this download, because people have realized the only way to truly seal a deal is to get a client off the app. The best way to do that is to give them a taste of what you provide, of who you are, of what your services are. And the whole point of what we're doing here is we're getting their email address, because the 6th and final rule that you should be following if you're going to leverage social media, should TikTok go dark again, you absolutely need to have an email list. One of the things that you're getting out of this is a safety net. Should any of your accounts go dark, should TikTok be officially banned, should your Instagram get hacked, anything like that, you have this safety net of people that you can contact to be like, hey, we restarted over here if you want to come follow us. But the bigger, more beautiful aspect of having an email list is to be able to support couples even further throughout this process. And I know you hear a lot of, at least the business owners that I follow, a lot of the Jenna Kutchers talk about building a nurture sequence and those sorts of things, and you absolutely can do that. But if that overwhelms you, don't worry about that. that. The main intention that we have here is ensuring that your business is protected regardless of what social media does. You can leverage this as an opportunity to further support your clients in a really, really intentional way, or your potential clients, and set up a nurture sequence to get them to book with you. That doesn't necessarily have to be the case, but you are probably not going to make a lot of money off of any of your followers. The only way you're going to make money is if you get them to convert to being actual clients. And in order to do that, you have to get them off the app. You don't plan a wedding with your client on Instagram. You don't plan a wedding with your client on TikTok. You don't plan a wedding with your client on YouTube. You have to get them off the app in order to convert them to a customer. And last but most certainly not least, you gotta work on your sales call, because we can have the best CRM platform, we can have the best social media, we could be converting like crazy, but if you don't know how to talk to your clients, then you got a big problem on your hands. Now, if you're interested, I have a podcast where I actually recorded with permission a sales call of a client who did end up booking with us, so you can kind of see how I do it. I'm not going to get too into the weeds on that, but the whole point of this whole journey is to make sure that we are being wise and astute with our following and make sure we are converting them to paying and contented clients who receive a fantastic experience. Now, obviously, as you know, this isn't something I normally launch into on this channel, but if it didn't come across as something I'm really passionate about, the following here, having a social media presence is overwhelming, humbling, gratifying, but honestly, the number doesn't mean much unless I'm actually converting them to online clients in the master plan, online mentees in the Union Mastermind, or even one-on-one personal clients. And by converting those followers into clients off of the app, I'm able to help them so much more. So that's all we have for today's video, guys. Honeybook, thank you again so much for sponsoring this video. Of course, I adore you guys. I highly recommend that you enter in for a free trial. Check out their January Jumpstart. $10,000 of resources and tools and training is absolutely insane. So if you want to make 2025 your year, be sure to check out that link in the description box below. If you like this kind of content, you should probably go check us out over at the Union Podcast. I'll leave it linked right here and down in the description box below, where I talk all things wedding industry business, wedding business related, because your girl likes it. And she's clearly got a lot to say. If you haven't done so already, jump on down there, hit that like button, and subscribe to this channel for more tips and tricks for the modern day bride and planner. And until next week, bye guys!